And a warm welcome to all of you. Thank you for joining us here for another live episode of Conversations with Michael. Today's episode is titled Compassion in Action. And we've got a lot to talk about here today. But before we get started, I wanted to take a moment here to share a new feature to Ancient Wings. If you've been following our work, you know that Michael has been talking a lot about an emerging new partnership between AI technology and the human spirit. I just didn't expect it to happen as soon as it's happening. So this week, we added a new feature to our website, one that uses AI, well, to better serve our own creations. The software that we're using generates a short overview of our live events in the form of conversations between two people. It's actually pretty amazing. I just copy some text off of our website, put it in this software, and it spits out an audio file. So check it out here in this video so you can take a quick peek at what it's all about.
All right, so today we are diving deep, really deep into this, what should we call it? A community, a resource, Ancient Wings.
Yeah, they're kind of their own unique thing.
Right, like we've got art, intuition, spirituality, all kind of blended together. And we know a bit about the founders, right? Robert Theiss, he's the author, the guide, and then Kozhenka Filipovich, the artist.
A pretty interesting pairing when you think about it.
Absolutely. And one of the things that really jumps out from their story is this emphasis on freedom, but not just freedom like, woohoo, no rules. It's deeper than that. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. It's like they're saying, forget political freedom, forget financial freedom, even forget, freedom from, well, let's just say they even talk about freedom from cycles of death and rebirth.
Whoa. Okay, so we're talking about some serious existential freedom here.
Exactly. It's about breaking free from, like, the limitations of our own minds, you
Yeah.
know, the beliefs, the fears, the stuff that holds us back from, I guess, really living.
From reaching our full potential.
Right, exactly.
They even use this phrase, the awakening process. Have you ever felt that? Like you're suddenly questioning everything you've thought you knew about reality.
Oh, yeah, and they go there. Ancient Wings, they talk about this default setting that we all kind of get stuck in. Like, we go through life on autopilot, accepting a certain version of reality, but is it even real reality?
It's like they're saying we've all got these blinders on.
Yeah, and their programs, their teachings, it's all about taking those blinders off. They're giving you the tools to create your own reality, I guess.
And this is where it gets really wild. The face, he talks about this connection he has with, and get this, his eternal self, which he calls Michael.
Yeah, this is where some people might need a minute to catch up.
Right, like who I is Michael.
So Thaís is very careful to say that this isn't channeling, right? He's not a medium or anything like that.
It's more like inner guidance.
Exactly. It's like he's tapped into this deep, wise part of himself. Think of it as a conversation with your highest self. That's Michael.
Okay, so it's not some dude with wings on a cloud. It's you, but super evolved.
You got it. And Theiss, he uses this connection, this dialogue with Michael to guide his decisions, to like really align with his purpose.
So how does Ancient Wings actually work? If someone's hearing this and they're like, all right, sign me up. I need to tap into my Michael. What do they do?
So they have these different membership levels. You've got like your basic level, but then it gets really interesting with the higher tiers. They've got these community live events. Think big celebrations, people coming together to, share experiences, learn from each other.
It's like a big spiritual party.
Basically.
Yeah.
Then there's the Mystic Circle, which is more intimate, online gatherings, more in-depth stuff.
Okay, so you're saying it's a tiered system of engagement. The deeper you go, the more you get out of it.
Right. And then there's these, get this, conversations with Michael. They're recordings, right, of these like dialogues with his inner guidance, Michael. And then,
hold on, there's more.
yeah, they also have these live Q&A sessions, Ask Michael, where members can, actually ask questions.
So it's like getting direct access to this wisdom, this guidance. Wow. That's a lot to unpack.
It really is. We've got this unique definition of freedom, this whole concept of questioning your reality, and then this direct connection to, well, let's just say a higher power, whatever that means to you.
It's a lot. So for you, what stands out the most? What really makes you think?
It's that idea of questioning everything, not just accepting the reality that's presented to us, but really digging deep and asking, what if there's more?
And are you ready to confront what that more might be? What would it mean for you to unlock that level of freedom, that connection? Ancient Wings offers a path, but are you brave enough to take it? Think about it.
So, we know this raises a lot of questions and perhaps some concerns. And my initial impression left me feeling that something was missing. All I heard initially was a digital mind mimicking our human mind. But then when I posted a few more videos on our website, something changed. I could feel my soul's presence, my own energy, starting to blend and merge with the video itself. And that radically changed how I experienced it. And I believe this is the key to all of this. In the same way that our programmed human mind is now serving our heart with the presence of our soul. So I found the software while watching a review on YouTube. It's called Notebook LM, produced and created by Google, and for now it's free to use. But I keep going back to how Michael describes this as being a new partnership. And as long as our creations are soul-filled, it offers an incredible opportunity to expand how we perceive the human experience. Let's take a deep breath here together. I know we talk a lot about sharing our light and the impact it can have on the lives of, well, millions of people. So it feels important to take this moment now to acknowledge all the changes that are impacting the lives of millions of people on this planet as we speak. So we invite all of you. Let's take a deep breath here again together. And just tune into your own energy. And as you're feeling it, allow your light to expand. Your own energy to expand beyond the limitations only connected to your own physical body. Allow it to touch everything on this earth. And in that allowance, you don't have to manage it. You don't have to direct it. You don't have to try to control it. Your energy, guided by your soul, knows where it's needed the most. And if you're on the receiving end of such a light, it can feel like someone just gifted you with a warm blanket, bringing comfort to those who right now are in need of that kind of comfort. And right now, the human family needs a lot of support. But your support for that cry for help, don't mistake it to think that that comes from you, the human part. Your light comes through you as a soul being. Humanity needs new leaders. That's pretty obvious. That are willing to lead from their heart without resorting to battle. That, in part, is why all of us are here, right? The vast majority of human beings are just sick and tired of cleaning up the mess. From little boys playing with big sticks. How many lifetimes have we endured that? So, looking forward, the voice of humanity will be heard. Their presence will be felt. And the role we encourage all of you to play, if that resonates with our work, or if that is something that resonates with you, the role that we're asking all of you to play isn't a passive role, although it might appear that way on the outside. Because shining your light is actually consciousness in action. Very good. Thank you. So many of you that are watching today's session, you discovered during this lifetime something pretty unique, something that is, well, very sacred, not in the form of something outside of you, but something that exists deep within you. It was the byproduct of many years, if not lifetimes, from taking that deep dive into yourself, acknowledging those conflicted eternal battles from within yourself. So your curiosity invited you to take a closer look at this presence. And so you did. Perhaps you heard others talk about it. Maybe you read some books about it. Maybe you followed some spiritual teachings that have created their own agendas based on this very discovery. So for you to find it silently residing deep inside yourself, well, for a lot of you, it was a little overwhelming. So what did you do? Well, of course, naturally you invited it to come a little closer, to come forward, to make its presence known to you, but in a more tangible way. But then nothing happened. So you studied a variety of techniques, a variety of different spiritual teachings that claim to help make such a presence more present. And some of them did to a degree, but not in a way that you could also feel the tangible beauty in nature. And after years, if not lifetimes, from trying to make this presence more real, you did something pretty radical. You stopped trying altogether. You just stopped. Something that Michael's been recommending for decades. You realize that trying to force it into your life just doesn't work. Why? Because at its core, it will not force itself upon anything, even if you gave it permission to do just that. But it will step forward if you're willing to do what? Well, of course, you've heard it a million times. Allow it. Allow it. But on its terms. So we want to take this moment on this foggy but beautiful fall day here in Oregon to thank so many of you that did have the courage and the integrity to do just that by embracing the art of allowing, the light that you're now sharing. My friends, this is a true blessing to this planet. And during the next few decades, all of you will witness how this very subtle but very potent presence will continue to influence not only your life, but all of life here on earth in ways that your mind could never have imagined, helping to restore your connection to your own divine heritage. Despite all the conflicts and all the battles that seem to be growing every single day. But none of these are new to you or any other human being. These battles have been going on for a very, very long time. But when will it end? So you become aware that without this light in your own life, life itself appears to be lifeless. What's left are only games. And you're seeing that play itself out in full view, in your face, on this planet as we speak. My friend, speaking for myself is Robert. My soul is Kethra, and my oversoul is Mikael. Yes, we have a lot to talk about today because there are so many changes happening on this planet on so many different levels. And they are now unfolding faster than ever before. And if for whatever reason you might be feeling frustrated or a little nervous about our future as a species, we'd like to address those concerns, both as they relate to the collective consciousness on this planet and all those underlying issues that continue to support a variety of agendas that are connected to a variety of different groups, most of which wouldn't exist if not for such an unending appetite for power. In the part that we serve, the light of consciousness, that has its own role to play, and it's playing it right now. On that note, be a good time for me to take a sip of water. And for me to step back, to demonstrate a multifaceted, multi-relationship with these different parts of us that are a natural part of being you. To step back and, of course, allow Mikael to step forward, but not as a channeled message. We know we keep repeating that. It's like a broken record, but from our perspective, it is really, really important for all of you to reclaim the voice of your own soul as being equal to any other being. So let's take that deep breath here together. And indeed, it is I, Michael. Thank you, Robert, for once again allowing me to share my presence in this unique way. For the longest time, the human experience has been divided between families, between your race, gender, and your beliefs. And because of those very divisions, you are able to justify how you treat each other in a way that devalues the very nature of spirit itself. But as that relates to choosing a human soul experience, for all of you that made that choice, your personal reality has now become more real than the managed reality that you all inherited. Managed reality? Indeed it is. The part that we play in all this is just to guide you back to your natural state. You're the ones that had to allow this very subtle presence to exist, for it to be what it is today. So let's start today's session by taking yet another deep breath, a deep, conscious breath, allowing all that you are, both those divine parts of you and those parts that got lost in the great search to know yourself. And what so many of you have discovered in this lifetime is truly amazing. It's changing the very fabric of this physical reality, changing how people perceive themselves, perhaps for the first time as a human being. Now, with a sincere love for all that you are. Take a moment to feel into this presence of love for self, that goes so deep. It has been my honor to serve such a love for a very long time, all in the name of freedom. But I also insist that the presence of your soul is equal to my own. So after all these years, all the workshops, all the classes, all the sessions, I'm inviting all of you to come back home. Come back to your natural state, to reclaim your birthright as a sovereign creator of your own experience. Now, that's not a choice that many human beings believe is even possible or even real. Especially when you look at the current state of this world. So many conflicts, so many battles that never seem to end. But my friends, these were the same battles that were also going on in the non-physical realms, or they wouldn't be here on Earth. The same battles between many of the same players that are also here on Earth, long before this planet was created. The difference is that today, so many heart-centered beings have finally lost their patience. In this lifetime, so many of you have declared, what? Yes, enough is enough. But not by confronting those that are addicted to playing these games, or even demanding that they stop or else. Instead, you being at the forefront of this change of consciousness on this planet, you realized that they too have as much right as you to experience life in any manner that they choose. That was a gift that was handed down to all beings from the source of life. But you no longer feel obligated to live alongside these games, even if that meant it changed your relationship with a variety of other beings. And for the longest time, it appeared that an alternative version of this reality really didn't exist. So you have discovered that by elevating your own state of consciousness, it allows you to be on this planet, but not of it. It puts you in touch with a reality that actually supports your soul's heartfelt desires. And that continues to unfold as we speak, and offers a tangible alternative version for being human. It's about time, is it not? In the non-physical realms, these battles aren't about obtaining money, gold, cryptocurrency, or property. It's all about enhancing your own energy so that you can feel more powerful, but in the form of extracting energy from outside of yourself, including from other beings. It's why we insist that before you participate in our service, it's required that you have a basic understanding of what it means to live an unplugged life. Meaning, you stop looking for energies outside of your own to help support you. Now, we know that's not an easy thing to do. So let's take another deep breath. Because Earth was actually created to help resolve this game. And as your energy continues to expand and grow into a more elevated state, one that has you feeling more and more connected to the natural state of your own soul, and less connected to a polarized, conflicted, dualistic system of reality, one that has dominated the affairs of life for a very, very long time, consuming resources on this planet at an alarming rate, as a reflection for this appetite for power, more energy. And for lifetimes, all of you got trapped inside of a game that had you believing that your own spirit or energy existed outside of you, believing that life just happens to you. So as you continue to expand and allow your own energy now to serve you, you become more and more conscious of what? What are you now more conscious of? Well, of course, of how you are now creating your own experience. How incredible is that? So we are deeply honored to serve those that are willing to do something, well, radically different. Instead of reacting to what appears to be outside of you and all the drama that is a byproduct of a very well-managed mental-based system of reality, many of you have responded to an invitation to look inside yourself as being the source of your own joy, the source of your own freedom. It's one thing to say, I'm creating my own reality. It's something else entirely when you choose to take that to heart and begin to take responsibility for the quality of your own life, for the quality of your own creations, responsibility for the divisions you have created between different parts of you. Let's pause for a moment. Take a deep breath and let those energies begin to circulate throughout your entire. Very good. Very good. As most of you know, over 20 years ago, my partner Robert served Ancient Wings as a conscious channel for myself as the Archangel Michael and for Yeshua. Yeshua during that time often spoke about the very times you are now experiencing. He talked about his own life, both as the human known as Jesus and his divine counterpart known as Yeshua. For a lot of you, this distinction was new. He talked a lot about the dance between these two parts inside of him. He shared his personal experience through Robert in this way to help all of you better understand all the challenges you too would face to embody your divinity with your human self, so that you could also better understand some of the choices you are making every day, and the choice to become more conscious of those very choices. When he shared that his divine part, Yeshua, would never choose to participate in any experience that embraced pain and suffering as being a virtue, that changes your whole view of what? The crucifixion, of course. That helped Robert to better understand why he had such a hard time embracing other versions of his story in a very personal way. Because as most of you have also discovered, representing yourself as a divine being doesn't seem to fit inside the collective consciousness of this human family. All the expectations and the projections of what that must look like make it almost impossible to allow such a presence to now be present. A day came in Yeshua's service to our teachings when he shared it was time for him to step back. He told Robert that he wanted to now witness in all of you from the balcony seats in the etheric realms. Your own realization began to unfold, to witness how you would experience what he too had experienced for himself, an ascended state of consciousness as a human being. Now the being known as Yeshua, like all beings, has of course changed a lot over the last 2,000 years. While sharing his love with all of you in this moment. And he would have to say, he has never been so proud to call you a fellow creator, because so many of you that were here 2,000 years ago, you witnessed his own awakening in person. And now it's your turn to acknowledge your human self and to accept it just as it is, realizing that your human self, by itself, is not capable of becoming enlightened. That's where so many of you got stuck, making your conditioned human identity responsible for doing the impossible. But just like Yeshua, it is possible to allow that part of you that already is enlightened to now coexist with your human nature. We are seeing that unfold in thousands of people on this planet as we speak, more than ever before. It truly is that simple. But of course, if this is all about the human identity, then that part of you will try in vain to create an improved version of itself, perhaps by participating in any number of self-improvement workshops. So why are we sharing this here today with all of you that felt attracted to watch this conversation? Because all of you that also feel called to embrace and embody a soul-filled life as a human being, this is your time right now. Whether you accept it or not, whether you even understand what we're sharing, you wouldn't feel called to listen to this or to watch it If it wasn't your time, you, my friends, you represent the second coming of Christ consciousness. Now, is that a problem? If so, why are you making it your problem? The human spirit has finally awakened to its own feminine nature. That endless cry to do battle with opposites of yourself has finally stepped aside within thousands of human beings to now allow such a presence to now be present. And we know from your human perspective, that's not an easy thing to do. And some of you would say, you're deluded, Michael, to even think that we qualify to represent such a state of consciousness. And I am here to remind you, that is just your human self thinking once again. Your human self in this new relationship with your soul is not the leading character in this new story. So no matter what your gender might be, Yeshua invites all of you right now to take your human self off the cross. If that was all about pain and suffering, but was it? Did he not demonstrate another form of himself too? Pain and suffering have nothing to do with your divinity. And if it did, then you were lied to. Forgive them and move on. You're not here on earth to pay some karmic debt, unless, of course, you choose to believe you are. There are quite a few institutions that can help you with that. Forgive them and move on. There's another way. We, all of us, are sons and daughters of the original self. As soul beings, we no longer need to play a game called let's pretend we're not God too and see how that goes. How is that going? Indeed. The majority of human beings on this planet are still playing that game. It became that seductive. And it's actually sad because it denies them of their most basic birthright. For the human self, it puts that part of you in survival mode. It doesn't allow you to freely receive unlimited guidance and support. From where? Well, from your own energy that exists inside your own soul. If only the human self would allow it. But if it did, then what's the point of needing more power? So the art of allowing is a true art form. A lot of people have talked about it, but for the longest time, very few have allowed themselves to really experience it. Why? Because it requires having the courage to look at what is filtering your own energy from inside of you. And until you do, you're back to pointing fingers, blaming others for your current circumstances, making others wrong to make yourself feel right, imagining conspiracies that might or might not exist. So being connected to your own energy provides all of you with some much needed support and clarity, so as to better able to discern what is real and what is not. It offers some much needed guidance. You don't need to rely on anything outside your own energy, including us, to choose what is best for you. So during this time of extreme shifts of energy, we know it's not easy to live alongside all these power games or all of these earth changes, which for the most part have a lot to do with releasing energies that have resided below the surface of this planet for a very long time. For the most part, the majority of human beings are heart-centered. They too can feel that something just isn't right. But unlike so many of you, they are not aware of the bigger picture, one that includes a variety of different spiritual families that brought with them to this planet all of their unresolved issues from the non-physical realms. So something needed to change. It had to change for life as we know it to continue on this planet. Millions of people are feeling it as we speak. Most of them are just reacting, but many are now responding in a way that brings hope. And this is what all of you are witnessing. More and more people are hitting the pause button in their life to reconsider the choices they are making, to question the very reality they inherited. Maybe for a while it felt safe just to go along for the ride, just because so many others were doing just that. But you just couldn't shake this feeling that none of this is actually real, at least to you, if you're not allowing your own soul to also play a part. And that has become our joy, to help guide those that are willing to go where so few have gone before, if for no other reason they can no longer settle for going through the motions. If true passion and joy are missing, but this change, this isn't like getting a new job. Allowing your soul's presence to coexist with your human identity is a life-changing experience. But once you do allow your soul to be present, you will naturally face another life-changing choice. Will your human self allow you, soul, to finally speak and not call it channeling? Do you dare allow that part of you to now represent itself inside of this human experience? And that choice will expose one or two human control issues. And you'll have to decide who serves whom. I know we've said this countless times, but it bears repeating. Embracing a soul-filled life is not for the faint of heart. Because now you're choosing to be conscious of all those parts of yourself that have been lurking in the background, or parts of creation, other beings that have taken advantage of any human being who hasn't allowed their soul to be present. So you could spend a lot of time and energy pointing fingers or blaming others for the state of this world. There are plenty who are doing a really good job of that. We have a lot of compassion for how current earth changes are impacting millions of people. Millions are caught in the middle of so many power games, and we understand that our solution to these problems, as they relate to all of you, don't have an immediate impact on your life. But what if you realized in all of this that power in and of itself is an illusion? And instead of ascending from this physical reality as a fully awakened human being, you chose to value your own energy as being priceless, not with an agenda to save anyone's soul, but with a great deal of compassion by sharing your light in such a way that your own energy communicates with the hearts and minds of this entire human family, reminding them there is another way. There's another way. You don't have to participate in the power games. So most of you have chosen to just get on with it. Let others dance with a reality that is being managed for you, while also supporting those that are working to create a more sustainable reality. Deep breath. Deep, deep breath. So no matter who you blame, it still comes back to now what? Well, is now a good time to create? Create what? How about creating a living example of a human self and its soul now coexisting in these physical bodies, for all parts of yourself to see that this indeed is real, and then to share the emerging light from such a relationship in the same way you once relied on the angels off of this planet to share the same love with you on this planet. My friends, speaking as Michael, it's time to take off those wings and get a good pair of hiking boots. Get really, really familiar with being a divine human being. Let all the traps of enlightenment go. Your natural state is already elevated beyond anything your human self could ever imagine. But will that part of you allow it to coexist with it? Or must there be a lot of drama, a lot of pushing back, a lot of internal battles over who is controlling whom? So, speaking now is Robert. As a retired spiritual warrior, it became really difficult for my human self to accept that my soul and oversoul had really no interest in doing battle with me. It was a game I was playing on myself. And after a while, it was I that was the one that looked kind of stupid. So I eventually accepted the role that was offered to me, to act as some kind of tour guide for my divine counterparts, who were, for the most part, really, really unfamiliar with this physical reality. So the way that all of us are now representing the living Christ in our own life, well, it's new. This is really, really radically different. from what has been and what has been projected that we must become. But it only seems to exist outside of a polarized dualistic system of reality, one that has separated the human from the angel, separated the shadow, the dark from your light, separated the male from the female. We know there are some lingering fears about your own safety. I had them myself. But this lifetime isn't just another repeat from our past. If it was, all of us that are feeling these Christed energies, we would have left. We would have ascended years ago. This current shift represents a complete reset to our story, a reset to what it means to be human. No longer do we need to endure feeling disconnected from our natural state. But the change itself will ask of all of us to not allow yourself to get pulled into all the drama to help support a fear-based reality. What I discovered is you can't play the victim and experience your soul at the same time. They don't dance really well together, if at all. Let's take another deep breath. So we spend another moment to circulate. Very good. So these next 2 decades will be all about sustaining the light of your soul inside of your day-to-day reality while wearing a good pair of hiking boots. This you must trust, that you won't get stuck here with your divinity present. Those that are involved with creating a more sustainable world, they really need to feel your light. They have their own role to play, as you have your own role to play to be at the forefront of these changes. It represents consciousness in action as it continues to build a foundation to help support a soul-filled reality. The reaction to such a reset on this planet won't be met with open arms by all of humanity for a variety of reasons, including those that subscribe to a variety of different spiritual teachings. But it does seem to speak directly to the heart of your soul, in a quality of love that doesn't rely on supporting oneself from outside of itself, but also gladly accepts a helping hand. Our joy in our service is to help any awakened human being reconnect with their soul and to help you navigate this physical reality with your soul's presence. Which brings today's session to a close. If any of you need a break from the current state of this world, feel free to visit our website and go to the Drama Free Zone page. That page has been infused with Michael's presence. We'll post a link in the description for those of you that are watching this on YouTube. Take care, my friends. Inside your divinity, it already knows that all is well. But for that to become a collective experience, it first needs to become real in your life, one human being at a time. Until next time, be well, my friends.